The cameras flashed. The crowd froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession.
Welcome to Starscope Report.
Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals.
From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame. And yes, that's us.
Right. So think about the worst, most entrenched argument your family has ever had.
Oh, boy.
You know the kind I'm talking about, where everyone retreats to their corners, sides are drawn, and the silence is just deafening.
Yeah, the absolute worst.
Now, imagine trying to navigate that exact same pain, but playing it out in front of the entire world, where every single Instagram, every block number and every perceived slight is analyzed by millions of people.
It's a nightmare scenario, really.
It is. And for 3 decades, David Victoria Beckham projected this image of an unbreakable, tight-knit family unit. I mean, they weren't just a couple. They were basically the blueprint for modern celebrity domesticity. But what happens when that billion-dollar brand explodes from the inside out? Which brings us to today's headline, which is literally everywhere. The Beckhams are suing their own son.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes the complete deconstruction of a carefully curated legacy. What we're witnessing here is the collision of deeply private family trauma with the machinery of modern celebrity.
And that is exactly what the sources for this deep dive reveal. We've got a massive stack of sources today.
We really do.
We're looking at a trail of celebrity news reports, direct social media statements from the family members themselves, leaked details of legal actions, and even brand new music releases from the Beckham brothers.
Right, because our mission today is to unpack this explosive feud between the eldest son, Brooklyn Beckham, and his parents. We need to analyze the conflicting accounts of where the breakdown actually occurred and examine how the youngest brother, Cruz, is navigating and maybe capitalizing on this civil war.
Because to understand the current era of legal threats and public snubs, we really have to rewind to the inciting incident, ground zero.
The wedding.
It's exactly. The April 2022 wedding of Brooklyn and Nicola Peltz.
Yeah, for years there were these persistent whispers of tension following that wedding, a sense that the blending of these two families just hadn't gone smoothly at all.
All right.
But then, in January 2026, those whispers were basically handed a megaphone because Brooklyn posted an explosive 6-page statement on Instagram.
Wait, 6 whole pages?
6 pages. And he didn't just complain about a singular family fight or a disagreement over wedding seating charts. He attacked the entire foundational concept of brand Beckham.
Wow.
Yeah. He claimed that his parents had controlled his narrative in the press his entire life and that it caused him overwhelming anxiety. His core argument was that their displays of family love were performative.
Oh, that's harsh.
Very. He said they were inherently tied to public promotion and commercial endorsements above all else.
So he essentially said, I'm opting out of the family business for the sake of my own sanity. But he also got incredibly specific about the wedding itself, which seems to be the wound that simply won't heal. He alleged that his mom, Victoria, pulled out of making Nicola's wedding dress at the absolute 11th hour.
Leaving them totally scrambling.
Right. And even more uncomfortably, he claimed that Victoria danced, quote, very inappropriately on him in front of everyone during the reception.
Yeah, and this is where the muddy waters come in. Because we start seeing the mechanics of public relations spin happening in real time.
Totally.
It's all through proxy voices. We have these conflicting eyewitness accounts from the wedding guests themselves acting as character witnesses.
A proxy war of eyewitnesses.
Exactly. You have DJ Fat Tony stepping up to the press to back Brooklyn's claim, stating clearly that, yes, it was an awkward dance.
But then almost immediately you have singer Mark Anthony going on the record, right?
Right. Insisting that narrative is, quote, hardly the truth.
It's so messy. And Brooklyn also claimed in this manifesto that Victoria repeatedly invited women from his past to the wedding events, specifically with the intent to make his new wife uncomfortable.
Which is quite an accusation to put out publicly.
It is. And when you look at the mechanics of this, it feels exactly like a corporate merger gone wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
Where the two boards of directors have completely different operating philosophies. You have the celebrity royalty of the Beckhams merging with the actual structural billionaire wealth of the Peltz family. And the PR strategy completely overshadowed the emotional milestone.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, is this just a classic case of an overbearing mother struggling to let go? Or is this the inevitable explosion that happens when two powerful empires collide?
Well, let's break down why those operating philosophies clash so violently. You're looking at two vastly different power structures here.
Okay, lay it out for us.
So the Beckhams built their wealth and their influence on public adoration, visibility, and highly curated branding. Their currency is attention. The Peltz family, led by Nicola's father Nelson Peltz, operates in a completely different universe. Nelson is a billionaire activist investor. His world is built on aggressive, behind-the-scenes corporate restructuring, NDAs, and immense private wealth.
They don't need the tabloids.
They don't need or want front-page tabloid attention at all. They utilize structural control. So when Brooklyn aligned himself with Nicola, he wasn't just getting married. He was stepping out of a PR-driven ecosystem and into a heavily fortified corporate wealth ecosystem.
And that structural shift away from his parents' PR machine wasn't just a symbolic gesture of independence. Because, you can't declare autonomy without funding it.
Exactly.
And that is where the power dynamic completely flipped. The tension didn't just simmer after the wedding. It evolved into a highly fortified financial and legal Cold War.
Precisely. If we look at the financial reality, Brooklyn and Nicola recently purchased an £11 million mansion in Los Angeles.
11 million.
11 million. And the reporting indicates that this property was funded entirely through Nicola's trust, which is signed off by her father, Nelson Peltz.
Wait, entirely?
Entirely. The Beckhams reportedly contributed nothing to this property.
Oh, wow. And the Beckham camp's reaction to that is fascinating.
Yeah.
The sources suggest the Beckhams are terrified that Brooklyn is now, quote, trapped, that he's entirely financially dependent on his wife's family.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, sources from the Peltz camp reportedly viewed the Beckhams' failure to chip in on the house as tight, basically calling them cheap.
Which is wild for families with this kind of money.
Right. And the Beckham representatives publicly dismissed this financial rift narrative as nonsense. But the hard reality on paper is that Brooklyn's multi-million-dollar lifestyle is now entirely underwritten by Nelson Peltz.
And this financial backing gives Brooklyn the leverage to execute a maneuver that is completely unprecedented within this family.
Oh, this part is crazy.
The sources reveal an exchange of formal legal letters between Brooklyn and his parents. He utilized high-powered legal firms, Schillings and Harbottle and Lewis, to demand that his parents stop contacting him and cease making public statements about him.
We really need to pause on that. Sending a formal legal letter to your own parents is the nuclear option in a family dispute.
It really is.
These aren't just strongly worded emails. Firms like Harbottle and Lewis handle high-level privacy and crisis management for the royal family.
Yeah, they don't mess around.
Utilizing them formally transitions a private family dispute into a hard, legally enforceable boundary. You are turning blood ties into a contractual standoff.
It acts as an impenetrable shield. And the fortification didn't start with lawyers. It extended into the digital realm with a mass social media blocking event in the summer of 2025.
Oh, right, the great blocking.
Yeah, Brooklyn systematically blocked his parents and his brothers across all platforms.
He effectively erased them from his digital existence. And if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead. Because Brooklyn followed this up with highly visible, real-world snubs.
Yeah, he really drove the point home.
He noticeably skipped David's massive 50th birthday bash in May 2025, an event packed with A-listers like Tom Cruise and Gordon Ramsay. He completely ignored Victoria's 52nd birthday in Miami. But the move that felt the most targeted was on the UK's Mother's Day.
Oh, that was brutal.
Brooklyn posted absolutely nothing for Victoria. Instead, he uploaded a gushing tribute to Nicola's mom, Claudia Peltz, explicitly calling her the best mother-in-law.
It is a masterclass in passive-aggressive optics. He's using the exact same tools of public visibility that his parents taught him, but weaponizing them against the family. And when a family fractures at this magnitude, there is always collateral damage. The whole ecosystem of the family breaks down. We see this with his younger brother, Romeo. The reports detail a bitter feud between Brooklyn and Romeo, specifically because Romeo briefly dated a model named Kim Turnbull.
And to understand why that sparked a feud, you really have to look at the history. Turnbull allegedly had a past connection with Brooklyn years ago.
Right.
So in Brooklyn's mind, amidst all this paranoia about his parents trying to sabotage his relationship, his brother dating someone from his past feels like a calculated slight. It feels like a loyalty test that Romeo failed.
It demonstrates the contagion effect of family feuds. It rarely stays contained to the primary combatants. Everyone is forced to choose a side or navigate a minefield of perceived betrayals.
But wait, If we look back at Brooklyn's entire manifesto, his core grievance was a desire for peace and relief, right? He wanted to escape the controlling narrative of the Beckham machine.
That's what he claimed.
Yet, if his £11 million house, his security detail, and his fundamental lifestyle are now entirely funded and facilitated by his wife's billionaire father, has Brooklyn actually found independence? Or has he simply swapped one incredibly controlling, wealthy dynasty for another?
You're identifying the central illusion of his autonomy there. I mean, Brooklyn framed his exit as liberation. But true autonomy requires self-sufficiency.
Exactly.
By embedding himself entirely within the Peltz financial structure, he's merely traded the performative public demands of Brand Beckham for the structural, private financial control of the Peltz empire.
Right.
He hasn't stepped off the chessboard at all. He just changed sides and adopted a new set of rules.
He traded a PR manager for a board of directors. And that's not even the wildest part. Because while Brooklyn is out in Los Angeles building a fortress out of legal letters and billionaire money, his younger brother Cruz is taking the exact opposite approach.
Yeah, Cruz isn't retreating at all. He is launching a highly visible counteroffensive.
And he's using everything he has.
While Brooklyn utilizes lawyers and Instagram blocks to enforce silence, Cruz is using his art, his platform, and his voice to aggressively defend the family name. The divergence in how these two brothers handle conflict is just striking.
Cruz is in his early 20s now, and he is not holding back. When the news initially broke that the Beckhams had supposedly unfollowed Brooklyn, painting the parents as the aggressors, Cruz went straight to Instagram to control the narrative.
He didn't waste a second.
No. He explicitly wrote, "My mom and dad would never unfollow their son. Let's get the facts right. They woke up blocked, as did I."
And that is a direct puncture to Brooklyn's narrative of being the victimized outcast. Cruz is making it publicly clear that the isolation is entirely self-imposed by Brooklyn. He is acting as an unauthorized crisis management PR rep for the family.
Probably.
And he didn't stop with direct factual corrections. He started speaking in the emotional language of pop culture. He posted cryptic lyrics from the Beatles song The End, highlighting the line, "The truth will unfold."
Classic passive-aggressive Instagram. And he took it a step further by directing his followers to listen to Victoria's 2001 solo track, "Every Part of Me."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if you analyze those lyrics, it's a song entirely about maternal devotion. "I promise I'll be here if someone ever breaks your heart." He's actively campaigning for his mother's honor using her own discography.
And he's generating his own discography to add to the fight, too.
Tell me about the band.
Right, so Cruz is the frontman of an indie rock band called The Breakers. And they recently released a track called Loneliest Boy. And I mean, the lyrical parallels are impossible to ignore.
Oh, I bet.
He sings about a boy who can find something bad in somebody good. He sings, "Don't push all your friends away when we're trying to show you love." And perhaps the most pointed line of all, "Mama, don't talk too much. It's breaking our heart."
But hold on. If Brooklyn's primary complaint was that the Beckham family constantly monetizes their personal lives and private pain to feed the PR machine, isn't Cruz doing the exact same thing?
Well,
He's using an incredibly painful private family trauma to market his new indie rock EP. He's literally dropping a diss track to drive Spotify streams.
that is the ultimate irony of this entire situation, and it perfectly illustrates the inescapable gravity of their upbringing. Even when they're rebelling against the brand or fiercely defending the brand, they instinctively use the tools of the brand.
But it's all they know.
Exactly. Cruz is genuinely processing his family's pain, there's no doubt about that, but he's doing it through a commercially available medium. He knows how to capture public attention.
Meanwhile, Victoria's playing a very different, highly calculated PR game.
She really is.
In her first real public statement to the Wall Street Journal, she didn't attack Brooklyn. She didn't stoop to the level of the manifesto. She maintained this calm, bulletproof line. "We love our children so much. We've always tried to be the best parents that we can be. All we've ever tried to do is protect our children."
It's the classic high road strategy. Brooklyn is screaming his grievances in 6-page manifestos, Cruz is writing indie diss tracks, and Victoria is floating above the fray in the Wall Street Journal, playing the heartbroken but eternally loving mother.
It's brilliant.
But Cruz's music isn't the only thing making headlines and serving as a counter-narrative to Brooklyn. Cruz's personal life is drawing these eerie, almost unbelievable parallels to his parents' legacy.
Oh my gosh, yes. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next, because this next part is wild.
It really is where the psychological and strategic dimensions of the story become genuinely fascinating.
Tell us about the girlfriend.
So Cruz is currently dating Jackie Apostel. She is a Brazilian-German songwriter, and she's not just a casual girlfriend, she operates in a professional capacity with him.
Right.
She was instrumental in producing his new double single EP, Optics. They met in a studio set up by their respective managers, and she has taken on a really strong mentorship role.
But the internet is fixated on two very specific details. First, the age gap. Cruz is barely 21 and Jackie is 29, a nearly 10-year gap.
Yeah.
But second, and far more loudly, the internet has realized that Jackie looks exactly like a young Victoria Beckham.
Oh, it's uncanny.
The commenters are literally calling her Victoria from Pretty Little Thing. They wear the same signature 2000 secretarial glasses, the same sleek hair, the leopard print. There are paparazzi photos of Cruz and Jackie walking together that look like carbon copies of photos of a young Posh and Becks from 1998.
The visual symmetry is absolutely impossible to ignore. But beyond the physical resemblance, you really have to look at the structural dynamic of the relationship.
Okay, what do you mean?
Cruz has found a partner who is older, significantly more experienced in the music industry, who is actively guiding his career behind the scenes, and who defends him fiercely in public. When people criticize their age gap on Instagram, Jackie fired back immediately, defending Cruz as mature, loyal, and driven.
She is stepping into a protective, almost maternal role, which mirrors exactly what Victoria did with David early in his football career when he was facing massive public backlash.
Exactly.
It's like Cruz isn't just dating. He's running a franchise extension of the original Posh and Beck's business model.
That's a great way to put it.
And here is the critical piece of the puzzle. The Beckham family has completely, overwhelmingly embraced Jackie. Victoria gifted Jackie a 990-pound dress from her own fashion label.
Wow.
Jackie was given a highly visible front row seat at Victoria's Paris Fashion Week show, sitting right next to David and the rest of the kids. And they all spent Victoria's 52nd birthday together in Miami, the exact same birthday that Brooklyn pointedly ignored.
If you analyze this through the lens of family systems and public relations, the contrast is staggering. On one side, you have Brooklyn, who marries an American billionaire heiress. That heiress allegedly refuses to wear Victoria's dress, clashes over wedding details, and ultimately pulls Brooklyn away to Los Angeles into a rival wealthy dynasty.
Right.
On the other side, you have Cruz, who dates a musician. That musician eagerly wears Victoria's designs, attends the family events, and actively integrates herself into the Beckham unit.
Which makes you wonder about the underlying strategy here. Is Cruz unconsciously trying to replicate his parents' iconic image to fill the massive emotional void left by his older brother's exit?
It's very possible.
And take it a step further. Is the family's incredibly public, warm embrace of Jackie a weaponized PR counter-narrative? Are they parading Jackie around Fashion Week to silently show the world, look, we are loving, welcoming in-laws. We embrace our kids' partners. The problem isn't us being toxic or controlling. The problem is Nicola.
It functions flawlessly as both, whether it's a conscious strategy or an unconscious psychological defense mechanism. Psychologically, Cruz may simply be seeking stability in a familiar dynamic amidst the chaotic fracture of his brother's exit.
That makes sense.
But strategically, for Brand Beckham, Jackie Apostel is the perfect shield. Every single photo of the family smiling warmly with Jackie at Fashion Week subtly undermines Brooklyn's manifesto. It visually isolates Brooklyn and Nicola as the sole malcontents in an otherwise happy, well-adjusted family ecosystem.
It's a brilliant chess move wrapped in the guise of a family vacation. And it proves that even in the midst of genuine, profound emotional pain, the instinct to manage the optics, which is quite literally the title of Cruz's EP, by the way, is hardwired into their DNA.
It really is. And to synthesize what we've unpacked from all of these sources today, the Beckhams spent 30 years building a billion-dollar empire entirely predicated on the aspiration of the perfect united family. They were the absolute blueprint for it.
Yeah.
But now, that very brand positioning is their greatest vulnerability. The private, messy, entirely normal growing pains of young adulthood kids leaving the nest, establishing boundaries, clashing with in-laws, seeking independence, they're being fought not behind closed doors, but with the weapons of the ultra-wealthy. We're seeing standard family friction weaponized through legal letters, real estate power plays, and Spotify releases.
And that's exactly why we're all so captivated by this story. Because at its core, if you strip away the 11 million pound mansions, if you take away the billionaire corporate fathers and the Paris Fashion Week front rows, this is a deeply relatable human story.
Absolutely.
It's about the universal pain of kids growing up and pulling away from their parents. It's about a mother feeling rejected and replaced by her son's new wife. It's about younger siblings feeling abandoned and lashing out at their older brother. It is fundamental family friction. It's just being amplified by a billion camera flashes.
The wealth and the fame do not insulate them from the emotional reality of family fracture. It merely changes the venue where that fracture takes place, moving it from the living room to the global stage.
Which leaves us with a really provocative thought for you to mull over as we wrap up. We've talked extensively about how this feud is damaging the traditional brand Beckham. But is it really? For decades, their brand was built on a wholesome, highly sanitized image of family unity, everyone falling in line and smiling for the camera.
Right.
But we live in a very different era now.
We operate in the reality TV era, the authenticity economy, where conflict is the primary currency. A perfect facade is boring. A cracking facade is captivating.
Exactly. So what happened to the commercial empire when the children realized that public rebellion, leaked legal letters, spilled secrets, and literal diss tracks are actually far more interesting to the public than a posed family Christmas card? Could this incredibly painful family rupture, ironically, be the ultimate, most profitable evolution of brand Beckham for the modern age?
It is a fascinating paradox to consider. The destruction of their unified facade might be the exact mechanism that keeps the brand relevant and highly profitable for another 30 years.
The cameras flashed, the crowd froze, the family broke.
Okay.
But everyone is still watching. You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.
Until next time.